The exclusive home of the Utah Mammoth is on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Feeds the point for Sergachev. A shot tipped in and they score! 2-1. Sergachev's shot made it through. Down low, Coyle shoots it off the outside of the post. Bouncing puck, they score! Columbus's power play lurches to life. Werenski up high, diagonally, tipped in, and they score! Columbus wins it overtime. Dmitry Voronkov tips it in past Vitek Vanacek, and it's no luck for Vanacek once again. A great night spoiled by Voronkov's OT winner.
You're locked into JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hour number 2 kicking off. Game night for the Utah Mammoth. Man, it's a big one. Big name coming in, national television. Don't try to tune into it on your local antenna like you've been doing for most of the season like me. This one's going to be on the big networks. You know why? Because the Toronto Maple Leafs come to town, and that's a big one. It's always big when the Maple Leafs come to town. It's always big when you're able to get those big names and, more importantly, get a win over those big name franchises. And the Toronto Maple Leafs are one of those teams that have that big name, and they're not doing that great. And this is one that you could totally get.
They're bad. They've caught fire recently.
I just think that this is a good moment that they could springboard themselves back into feeling good about themselves.
They've won 4 straight, the Maple Leafs have. They're up to 53 points.
Are they in a back-to-back? I want all the advantages. I guess in hockey it doesn't actually matter.
They're the top wild card spot right now.
In the East? All right.
They just – oops. I had my information there now. Oh, it's back. They just beat the Avalanche in Denver.
So
it was an overtime.
Bleh.
It was an overtime.
That's scary.
And that game was that was last night.
Okay, so this is one that you can prove yourselves tonight. And Bertoni,
William Nylander scored an overtime goal last night to beat him.
Bertoni, the big names for the Utah Mammoth, they all need a big night, and this could be a huge win for this team and a turning point, at least at this point in the season. Joining us on the program right now, courtesy of the folks at Hercules First Federal Credit Union, growing stronger together. He's Cole Bagley, our Utah Mammoth insider for KSL Sports. What's going on, Cole?
How you guys doing?
Oh, we're good. We're just trying to handicap this Toronto Maple Leaf and Utah Mammoth game because I mean the Columbus Blue Jackets game was a head scratcher. I know you have your second goaltender in and Vitek had a good game up until that point, but there were a lot of poor performances in that game that had nothing to do with the goalie for the Utah Mammoth. What do they have to get better just from last game to be able to hang with the Toronto Maple Leafs and get a huge win here at home?
Yeah, I mean, this has been a tough season for the Maple Leafs, but they've kind of started to figure things out over the last 10 games with 8 wins and their only 2 losses are in overtime. And like you guys were talking about before I jumped on here, they're the first team to beat Colorado at home, and I think 17 games. And I think, it was in overtime. So not a regulation win, but still, Colorado has not lost at home for 17 games, which is ridiculous. So, it's a back-to-back. They're probably tired after playing Colorado, but most nights that doesn't mean anything, especially when you got, the likes of Austin Matthews and William Nylander on your team. Those two are just offensive juggernauts who can, hang collectively 5 or 6 points on you on any given night. So a big game, kind of like you were mentioning, this could be, kind of a springboard into the rest of the season for Utah. They've never beat Toronto in their existence. And it's not going to be easy tonight, but what they need to improve on over the last 2 games, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know that Utah really deserved to beat St. Louis the way that they played defensively, but, Karel Vejmelka bailed them out, and, Vanacek was actually really good the other night against Columbus, but, Utah was just pretty lazy in their attempt, especially defensively, as they lost a lot of battles, they turned the puck over in really dangerous areas, and they just were not – they weren't shutting down shooting lanes. They weren't clogging passing lanes either. And so, I think really what tonight comes down to, what the success tonight will come down to is, can Utah have one of those performances that we have seen them, carry out this season, where everybody's engaged, everybody's playing, and they're giving 100% effort through all 60 minutes.
Well, Columbus was so good on Sunday, they fired their coach after the game. This league can be pretty brutal, can it? I mean, we see that a lot. You see coaches fired mid-season more in the NHL than maybe some of the other leagues.
Yeah, I mean, I think he lost 4 of 5. And so, I mean, that was his only win on the road trip. And generally in the NHL, you don't fire your coach until you get home. And so
that's nice of them.
Kind of them.
Very nice.
Very thoughtful.
Yeah, so that decision had probably been made previously, and the writing was on the wall. Good for him to get a win as his last game in charge, but it wasn't enough, and they let him go. So, I mean, I don't know. I look at other leagues like the NBA and the NFL, and I feel like guys are just always getting fired, and positions are always turning over. But the tough thing with the NHL is, it's such a long season, but if you go through a stretch of, 10 games where you're only winning 2 of those or 1 of those, it's tough to keep your job. So kind of an interesting, turn of events, but I think it was more so based on, hey, this guy lost, 4 in a row before this one. And, the Columbus's season has just kind of been a disaster. So, that probably had been decided before, and unfortunately it came after a win.
Well, when you have such a storied tradition that the Columbus Blue Jackets have of all those Stanley Cup playoff appearances, you got to live up to that hype.
Yeah, that's true.
I keep throwing shade at Columbus. I'm sorry.
I know he really went hard. He really owned that take
I
of
picked an NHL team that I don't like, and it's the Columbus Blue
it's
Jackets.
Not just that.
I mean,
JJ threw out, this is the most irrelevant franchise in all of professional sports, and we were all like, "Geez,
prove me wrong.
We don't even know these guys. Will you settle down a little bit?" I mean, maybe he's right.
There's so much hatred for a team that's really done nothing, but I'm here for it. I mean, it keeps things interesting.
I have my reasons. No.
What do you what do you want to see tonight? I mean, I know you said guys more engaged and things like that, but like who are the people you want to see on the scoring sheet, or the guys that make just such an impact on the game that they're the ones that help get to that spot where they can get a win against Toronto?
Yeah, I mean, generally when Utah's winning hockey games, it's coming down to really 3 or 4 players, I think, offensively. Guys like Clayton Keller, Nick Schmaltz, generally when those 2 are combining for multiple goals, Utah's going to win. And then Dylan Guenther, Dylan has kind of gone quiet over the last few games. He had his hat trick. I think he had like 11 points through 10 games, 11 through 10 after Cooley went down with injury. But he's gone relatively quiet over the last 2 or 3. I'm not sure if he has a single point over the last couple of games. And, today he was on a different line. Him and Daniil But have switched lines. So Daniil But has jumped up into the top 6. He'll be playing with Hayton and Peterka. And then Guenther is now playing with Jack McBain and Michael Carcone. We'll see if that, I asked Turney about that because it's certainly a choice to drop one of your best players out of the top 6 onto what's usually known as a checking line, on that third line with McBain. But he said they're just looking for a spark. He likes kind of the chemistry between McBain and Guenther, and they play kind of complementary type games. McBain is a big body that's going to go to the net, and he's going to take pressure off of Guenther and open up space and demand respect in the crease, which should hopefully allow Guenther to shoot the puck more. And then on the other end, Gunther's such a threat from anywhere on the ice that McBain will be able to get towards the net. So we'll see how things go in terms of that. One player that I think needs to start showing a little bit more is JJ Peterka. He hasn't had a bad season by any means, but the fact that Utah traded Josh Doan and Michael Kessler for JJ Peterka, and Josh Doan I think now has more points than Peterka does. And, it's different teams, it's different roles, it's different positions. And I'm not really crazy on Michael Kesselring anyways. I think that was just kind of a added little extra. He's just an okay defenseman. But, if JJ wants to really prove that trade, he needs to start playing a little bit more effectively and engage himself a little bit more. And I think some of that comes down to the line combinations. Without Logan Cooley, I think that's kind of taken away from Peterka's game, and without the kid line really getting a lot of time to play together this season, I think Peterka's just struggled to find a real landing spot on a line. So we'll see what he can do tonight.
It's always nerve-wracking when you see a change like that because you wonder what the egos and fragile as they might be, but they're also these guys are when you're as highly paid as some of these guys on this team are, like Dylan Guenther, I think people look at that. That's running the risk of, and I know Bear's trying to try some different things, but that runs the risk of a guy maybe not playing up to his potential or getting a lot out of him. Which one, based off of what we know about Dylan Guenther, could we see?
I think there's a lot that goes into it. First of all, I would say that NHL players are probably less prima donna than any other league. This isn't the NBA or the NFL where there's some big egos here, and NHL players are more about team, I think, than anywhere else. They just want to win and they want to help their team win. And I actually, asked Dylan about this today. It's one of those tougher questions, right? It's a little awkward to be like, hey, so you're out of the top 6. How do you feel about that? And it was really positive. He said he loves playing with Jack McBain, and it's all about the team, and he doesn't really see it that way. He said, look, I can play anywhere in the lineup. He said that, the way that I approach the game, I play my game, it doesn't change no matter where I'm at. He just wants to remain focused and help the team win and hopefully score some goals. And so, yeah, I'm sure in the back of his mind a little bit there is, but like I said, I just think hockey players are so much more about a team mindset and wanting to help the team win games that, they're going to try it. And, before too long, Guenther will be back in the top 6. So the team just wants to win, and they need to win hockey games. And tonight's a hockey game that they got to figure out. So, I don't think it's as big of an issue.
How big is this game tonight when you consider who's up next on the schedule and this homestand and the way things have gone so far? What do they have to do tonight? Even if it's not exactly the result they're doing, what do we need to start seeing from this team that gives you a belief that they're moving in the right direction when it comes to getting to the Stanley Cup playoffs and playing at the level that we've seen them play at consistently?
Yeah, they've got 4 wins over the last 6. So they've been playing relatively well. They're getting incredible, production and performances from Vejmelka in net. But I think the biggest thing is that they have to continue to play consistent hockey. You can't just win 7 games once and then win 3 games once. You need, playoff teams are teams that can rip off, 4 or 5, and then they might drop 1 or 2 or 3, but then they get back, they get back into the swing of things. They win 3 or 4 or 5 again, and that's really what Utah needs to do. Is they need to play with consistent energy. They need to. You can't have games against the worst team in the Eastern Conference and lose in overtime to Columbus. You cannot afford to drop those types of games. Those are the games that when you get your schedule, in late summer and you take a look at it, those are the games you circle as gimmies. You look at that one and you go, we're getting 2 points out of that one. And especially for a team that's talking about playoffs, that's, promising to play meaningful hockey again, but hopefully be on the winning side. You got to win the games that are kind of more the gimmies, and not that necessarily there's a lot of those in the NHL, but when it's the most hated team ever by JJ, you got to get 2 points.
You can't lose to that group.
You never know that down.
Can't.
Yeah.
And it only gets tougher from here. You're playing Toronto, and then the next 3 are tough. You got to play Dallas, which is probably one of the Cup favorites this year. You got to play Seattle, who's been on an absolute tear as of late. You got to play Philly. They're a formidable Eastern Conference opponent. And then you go on the road for a while and you're playing tough teams. You're playing, Tampa Bay, and you're playing Florida and Carolina and, Dallas again. So they've got to figure out a way to stay in these games, to start getting some of these 1-goal games to go their way, to give consistent energy for 60 minutes. Because look, you're not going to play, grade A hockey for 60 minutes. But if you can give 100% for 60 minutes, then you just live with the results. And I think that's been the biggest issue for the Mammoth this year is they're just hit or miss on, their effort for an entire game.
The league right now, of course, is about to enter one of the most exciting moments. And I think this is probably going to be here locally. Certainly for me, it's going to be the most engaged with the the international tournament of the Olympics and how big of a deal that is. The league takes a pause and they let these guys go to their national teams, which of course is as big as anything that they could play in. What are the anticipations for this Team USA? Speaking of, captain of Team USA, Austin Matthews is going to be in town, right? And so Clayton Keller, of course, is on the roster. But I don't know how to handicap the Team USA where Canada is that superpower now, or others who are in this thing. How is this supposed to shake out the Olympics this year with all these teams?
Well, first of all, I do not want to see Austin Matthews wear a C for my country at the Olympics. I just want to get that out there. He does not deserve that letter on his jersey in a couple weeks. I'd love to see one of the Kachuk brothers wear it. But aside from that,
what did he do to you, Cole? I need some more background here.
It's a similar feeling that JJ has for Columbus. No, I just, when I watched him at Four Nations last year, he had like 2 points. And in the biggest game against Canada in the final, he didn't step up. He didn't do anything. And, I take a look at the way that Toronto has, played and performed in the playoffs. He doesn't have that ability to get his guys up, to inspire, those around him, to lift those around him. Like, they were a mess in the playoffs a year ago, and they've been a mess for most of this season. And, I don't know about you, but does that sound like the guy that you want to, describe as Captain America going into the Olympics? Absolutely not. So, I'll get off my soapbox, with that, but,
I love it.
For Team USA, this is probably the best, most talented, and deepest roster that the United States has ever submitted to the Olympics. When you look at how much talent, how many goal scorers, how many of the top players in the NHL who are Americans that are on this team, Clayton Keller told me himself. He said it's gold or it's bust. That is the number one focus is to go into these Olympics, to dominate the hockey, to really put USA hockey back on the map, to continue what they did at World Championships, and, to kind of shock Canada, right? Like, Canada has been, such a powerhouse for so many years. They've won a lot of golds, a lot more recent golds. And now that it's best on best, the United States wants to send a message that, hockey runs through, the land of the free and the home of the brave, right? Like, they're ready to go. And I would anticipate that these guys are going to run through a wall, and they're going to give, their very best. And that's why it meant so much for Clayton Keller to make this team is, he wants to be regarded as not only a captain and an all-star, but, a player for the best American team to ever take the ice at the Olympics. So, yeah, Canada's good. You could argue that this is probably Canada's best Olympic team, at least since 2010 and maybe even 2002. They won golds in both of those tournaments. So this is a prove it opportunity for the Americans. And like you, I am very, very excited to watch this tournament. I haven't watched Olympic hockey since the last time NHL players played because I just don't care. If they're not in it, then in my mind, it's really not worth watching.
It's going to be awesome. Can't wait for it. We got less than a month until it's all going to happen. And we're here at KSL. We're going to be all over it. Sam Farnsworth's going to be in Italy with Team USA.
With skates on.
With all of your favorite Mammoth players,
yeah,
giving us updates every single day. So he's fired up and pumped for that, and I can't wait for the coverage. But I need to ask you about the most important, the most pressing story involving the Utah Mammoth right now. What's up with the whistling at the arena, and why are the players so mad about it?
Oh, man, that was some fun interactions last week.
That's
over
so
the
weird. It is so weird. No, none of us understood what was going on that aren't familiar with it. So help me understand.
Yeah, so like a month ago, a group of fans just started like whistling, and it caught on really fast. And it continued for a few games, and then it stopped. And then last week it got really bad. I don't know if you guys saw the video that I posted last week, but Delta Center sounded like an aviary or like a rainforest. It was crazy. Like probably hundreds of people were whistling. And I don't know if you guys watch much like European soccer, but it kind of sounded like that a little bit, and that's a very common thing in a lot of European.
Those are boos, by the way. Those are not approving whistles at all. So maybe it sounds weird. Maybe it sounds weird for the international players. I don't know.
Yeah, so it got really, really loud against Ottawa. You couldn't even hear yourself think. And in hockey, obviously the officials have their own whistles, but teams, and I've seen Utah do this, the teams use whistles to signal line changes, and Tourney will actually whistle at Karel Vejmelka to come to the bench on delayed penalties or if they're pulling him to put on an extra attacker. So this was creating issues. This wasn't just like the players were annoyed with it. It was literally disrupting them from doing their jobs. And, it got so bad that, the players decided to speak out on it. And, they made it, they were pretty straightforward. Clayton Keller said, look, it's really annoying and it's very disruptive. And he's like, I don't know if they want to do it before the game or after the game, but just don't do it while we're playing. Luckily, the message was received. It was, there was far less people doing it in the game after that. And then, against Columbus, I didn't even hear any. So, yeah, just kind of a silly thing that I think a lot of people thought was fun. But at the end of the day, the players don't like it. They don't want it to be part of the hockey culture here in Utah. And I would have to support that. Like whistling, it became disruptive, right? And if you like that team, if you support that team, then you should probably listen to, what they have to say.
Cole Bagley called HR and got it done for the Utah Mammoth. I can't do my job very well.
We're not going to whistle you off the air.
I know, that's fine. No, we're not. No, we'll never whistle at you, man. We know that'll throw you off. Come on. Tonight's an 8 o'clock puck drop. 7 o'clock is going to be your pregame right here on the KSL Sports Zone. Cole, it's a late one. It's a nationally televised game. It's a big one for this team. We're looking forward to it, man. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, well, and if you guys are whistling at me, it's probably for different reasons.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Can't do that at work either.
Over the radio wink.
HR violation.
I know. All right, Cole. We'll talk to you later, man. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
There you go, Cole Bagley, serial interview flirter with JJ. And you can whistle at me anytime, JJ. Come on. That's what you got from him.
I'm going to whistle at the Columbus Blue Jackets.
The whistle go, woo, woo. Remember that guy? Bub Rub?
Oh, yeah.
That's basically the same complaint.
Yeah.
I got these whistles going through the neighborhood with these kids. They're modifying their cars to whistle. Remember that guy? The whistle go, woo, woo. Yeah. That was like my favorite. That was my favorite viral video of all time. We got to introduce Napolis to that one. All right,
Yeah.
we'll take a break. We'll come back. More to go around the corner. We've got tons that we're still going to bring to you. Halfway there, it's going to be good though. When we come around, we've got Jazz Daily. How the Jazz were able to stun the Cavaliers and what Donovan Mitchell said about Keontae George and this team. Stay here, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
What time is it? Your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Garland trying to bump him back on Keontae. Bounces it down low to Tomlin. Jumping high as Nurkic blocking and shaking his head. No. Here comes Keontae. Finger roll, scoop and a score. Love hands to Cody. Back to Keontae. Angle left three. Oh, he hit it. Wow. Keontae George. Collier on the push far side. High stepping. Kicks to Love. Three ball. Tender Love. Bullets the pass to Collier. He walks back to the three-point line. He fires. He misses. Bailey high rebound. Pull it down low to Love and a right-hand layup. What a play by Ace Bailey. Two-hand rebound coming down through a 3-foot pass to Love who laid it up and in.
You're locked into JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's that time of the day for us. Bring you Jazz Daily, but also get you some Jazz tickets. It's a Jazz Ticket Tuesday, so let's give some tickets away right now. Call in number 12, 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE, 801-575-9663. Get a pair of tickets to see the Jazz. And the Minnesota Timberwolves coming to town. A couple of former Jazz men. What do you have? You got Mike Conley. You got Jingle and Joe.
Yeah.
You got Rudy. Anybody else?
Well,
Did Neil Alexander Walker?
I think he moved on, right?
Yeah. Nikhil Alexander Walker.
I don't think there's any more. I'd have to double check though, because man, they sure like former Jazz players.
Yeah,
up there.
and it'll be a fun one. So win tickets right now. Call number 12, 801-575-ZONE. The Jazz turn around a ridiculous 55-point loss from last weekend. Where's he at?
Oh, I found Johnny Juzang is on their roster.
Oh, look at that.
Told you. I was trying to remember. They have somebody else, and we got it. So sorry.
Is he on a two-way right now? Or?
Oh no, he is on the roster.
Okay. Jazz Cavs last night. Jazz 13.5-point dogs coming into Cleveland. Why not? The Cavaliers are a better basketball team than they are typically, right?
Should be, yeah. With that talent and with that payroll.
Lowry Markkanen comes back after the 55-point loss. Isn't that a nice one to be able to wash your hands of? Like, I wasn't there for that one. I didn't.
Yeah, it won me. I didn't do it.
Hey, he's like, hey, Cody Williams, will you take all my plus-minus numbers, all my minuses? Just while I'm gone, take all of them.
It's like a room of siblings when the parents come in and like the vase is broken and the one kid can just like point to the other and say, one me.
Yeah, I was in football practice. The Jazz get the win over the Cavs in Cleveland. The 55-point loss is an absolute shock and embarrassing.
Yeah. Beating
the Cavaliers isn't unheard of. Lowry going for 28. Key going for 32, and we talked about how I think Lowry was 28 and 12. Keontae George had 32 points and 9 assists, and the guy just keeps getting better and better every game. Donovan Mitchell had to say this about the rising superstar for the Utah Jazz. Well, I'll get to it when our producer isn't. We got Annapolis answering your phone calls for tickets, so we'll get to that in a second.
Annapolis needs an assistant.
I want to know though, Keontae George, where is he right now? In the rest of the league's mind, do you think? I'm not saying to make an all-star game because Donovan Mitchell thinks that should be a thing. Oh, now we can listen to it. Let's listen to Donovan and his words about Keontae George and the Jazz last night.
I think I really, want to highlight the Jazz. They came in there and just outplayed us. Started with Keontae George, who deserves to be an all-star. A young fella that I know personally, and I'm excited to see his progress just from last year to this year. The coach he works with is a close friend of mine, so to see them continue to take that step it's amazing to see. I'm happy for him. And then Laurie is obviously Laurie, so I got to give them credit. But also we are at fault as well for not coming out ready to go. And, when you let two guys who are talented, especially, and we all know Laurie, he's been an all-star starter, right? He's been here. But Keontae George, who's playing at all-star level, should be an all-star. You let him get going. It's tough.
I always love that. The post-game interviews with the team that loses and the low tone that they use.
Yeah.
I just want to highlight Utah, But, hey, kudos to Donovan. He threw out the kudos, right? I mean, Keontae George doesn't impress just people who are watching here in Utah. I think that's the important part. You need guys like Donovan Mitchell to say, who's a multi-time all-star, to be able to say, dude, Keontae George needs to be an all-star. Like he is one. The level that he's playing at. It's all-star level. It's all-star caliber. He goes out, and there are not a lot of guys that are able to stop what he's doing right now. And if they are, he dishes it, and Lowry picks up where he leaves off. So, in my mind, he's dead right. I think you're going to have to still get another year under your belt. The rest of this season, plus a good start to next season, I think that's where you're going to get the attention. And I probably think that if you add a young star, if you draft somebody big, and then people start looking at the Jazz a little bit differently, then they notice Keontae George more. Then they don't just think of Lowry Markkanen as an afterthought. They go, those guys are good, and they got this guy in last year's draft. They're going to be pretty good over the next 2 years. That's at least I think what the hope is of Jazz fans across the entire planet.
Well, in order to make all-star games, you usually have to win big.
Yeah.
And you look at Utah Jazz all-star history. Even Darren Williams had to wait a year or two to get in. Karl Malone was once not voted an all-star starter when he was legit one of the top 5 players in the league.
Sure.
And so there's always going to be this bias or slide or whatever is out there. I think it's less so now than it used to be in the past because I think, a lot of people are more aware. And the nice thing about this all-star situation is when it comes to selecting the reserves. The coaches make that decision, and the coaches are watching closely. And I think that Keontae George has probably won a lot of them over. Now, is it going to be enough to put him over the top and get him? Because this is the top 24 players in the world. And injuries can also be a factor. What players are injured and can't play? So that's something to keep an eye on. But is LeBron James not going to make the All-Star team?
No. Come on.
Well, he's not among the top 20 scorers in the league.
He's not, but he's going to get that fan vote. He's going to be like number 2 in the fan vote.
I mean, is Paulo Banchero not going to make it? You know what I mean? You start going through some of the list of these players, and what players are going to make it, who's not. Because Paulo Banchero is 30th in the league in scoring. You would assume that Paulo Banchero would be higher up. To give you some perspective, I'm bringing that up because Keontae George is the 19th best scorer in the league right now.
Yeah.
19th best.
Does he have almost 24?
He is 23.8 right now.
Yeah.
And that's good for 19th in the league. He's right on the heels of Devin Booker.
Who is he? Who's behind him? Like who's 20?
Norman Powell. Then you get into like Norman Powell, Jalen Johnson, Pascal Siakam, who's been an All-Star.
Of course.
Julius Randle, Alperen Şengün, who's probably going to be a Western Conference All-Star. Is Keontae George going to get in ahead of Alperen Şengün? Probably not. And so that's why I bring that up, is there's a lot of players, just because they're not in the top 20 in scoring, that are going to be considered for all-star spots in the Western Conference. Jimmy Butler doesn't score as many points as Keontae George. You know what I mean? I'm trying to give you an idea of the quality of player. Cooper Flagg, only 19 points per game. Does Cooper Flagg get an all-star nod ahead of Keontae George right now?
No, I certainly hope not.
Probably, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because
just because the name
it's Cooper Flagg, number 1 overall pick, blah, blah, blah. So you get what I'm saying? It's really hard to make an all-star team. Is Amen Thompson not going to make the all-star team? So then you got to start going through that list. It's going to be tough this year. The Jazz need to win more. Denny Avdia is probably going to make it ahead of him in the West. James Harden. So there's a long list. Jamal Murray's looking for his first all-star nod. He averages 25.3 points per game. So you get my point. There's a lot of good players in the league. There's only 24 that can make it, and maybe a couple more because of injuries or players electing not to play, et cetera.
At 28 points a game, Larry Markkinen is number 11 in the league in scoring right now.
Yeah.
That's impressive. You know what a number is that actually shocks me? Not really. We've seen him getting better at this, but Keontae George is 11th in the league in assists per game at almost 7 per.
Dramatically improved.
Think about how crazy that is. So he's the 19th best scorer, 11th best assists in assists. And his turnovers have dropped so much this year that you're seeing the guy getting so much better basketball, man. And it's good to see. If you're a Jazz fan, you're excited about this thing.
Yeah, he's a solid 2-to-1 in assist-to-turnover ratio, which is a dramatic shift for him.
Yeah.
It's great.
No, he was such a liability for the first 2 years, of just like.
We questioned whether or not this was going to work.
You didn't even know what you're going to get.
No question now.
Yeah.
He's a star. And I hope he does. You got to win, though. Remember when the Jazz got Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, and Mike Conley for the first time? Why? Because they had the best record in the league at that time that year.
Yep.
So you've got to win. The more you win, the more All-Stars you're going to get. And the Jazz probably haven't won enough for Keontae to get the nod. If Lauri Markkinen doesn't get the nod and the Jazz have no All-Stars, there's something wrong there. Lowry's been too good. I don't know what you'd point to if you don't do that. He's played more games than Luka Doncic. So, and Steph Curry. So it's not a games thing. It's not a missing games thing. He deserves to be in. He's top 11 in scoring in the league, and his rebounds are way up there too. Keontae George is on that line where do you deny Jamal Murray his first All-Star bid? Denny Avdia, like I said, with Portland has been awesome. Do you keep Kevin Durant out of the All-Star game? James Harden? Who do you leave out? Devin Booker?
Jeez.
It's just hard. There's just only so many guys that make it. That's why it's such an honor to be named an All-Star and why it's such a big deal and should be celebrated. I hope he does. Keontae, whether he makes it or not, deserves the recognition that he's receiving, and it's been awesome to see, and it's good for the franchise moving forward.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. We have a top 10 around the corner. We've got lots to go still on this program. I've got a fun top 10. It's going to be difficult. Get your thinking caps on, everybody. Stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the biggest name. You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Pardon us while we rock.
Raise up your goblet of rock.
I got a top 10 for you here, JJ. Before I get to it, though, want to mention Hans and Scotty are going to be noon to 3 at Tim Daly Mazda in Sandy. Excuse me. 10785 South Auto Mall Drive. That's Friday. So join them on Friday, noon to 3, Tim Daly Mazda in Sandy. Got it? Coming up in a little bit, Sly is going to join us. Stevenson Sylvester. All of his coaches are stepping down.
Just means Sly's getting old.
Nobody's safe. Tomlin out.
How about
down.
that? Tomlin and Kyle Whittingham in the same year.
Well, and they
In
both
the same
feel
month.
and they both feel forced out. They both feel like it was
Right.
not them who made the decision.
Right.
Like we all read through, like we see straight through the words that are on the statement on the page. This was a little bit ugly, probably. And my guess is Mike Tomlin is going to go somewhere and be successful again. Shocker.
You know where he's going to be successful?
Baltimore Ravens.
TV.
Oh, dang. Yes, he would. He would. But I feel like those guys can't step away when they're steeped in this too much. They can't step away.
His mentor did.
All right, we'll talk to Sly about it. Get his thoughts on the transfer portal as well. Hey, I got a top 10 here for you. Let's get the timer out. Let's get things going. I have in front of me, for no other reason except for I just thought it was fun, top 10 schools in college football. And I'll kind of I'm not going to qualify it. But I'll be a judge if you get some of these right, and I decide they could be on the list too. The top 10 programs that have birds in the logo. Birds in their logo. You ready?
Sorry. Any sport? What?
No, college football.
Just college football.
Yeah.
Birds in the logo.
I'll say just
In the logo or in just the mascot itself?
So, no, in the logo. And I'll even take secondary logos. And here's the other thing. This has to do with I'm telling you. So Division I football, Division I basketball, Division I.
So basketball's included in this as well.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying, yeah, schools in Division I of sports. Let's not make this harder than it needs to be. Annapolis, participate by pressing the button and getting going. On your mark, get set, go.
Louisville Cardinals.
Ding.
Creighton Blue Jays.
Ding.
Illinois State Redbirds.
Ding.
More birds. I need more birds.
I'll give you one.
Baltimore Orioles. I'm just kidding. Oh, man. Rice Owls.
Not in the logo, but
Kennesaw State.
ding.
Owls. More birds. Give me more birds. I need more birds. Roadrunners. UTSA. Give me the ding.
Yeah,
Give me the
you got
ding.
it. It's got that sharp beak.
Thank
yeah,
you.
he's in there, yeah.
Thank you. Power 4 teams. Is there more Power 4 teams?
Yes, there are.
Gosh dang, which ones?
The ones you're going to get the most pissed about.
I mean, there's the Big 10 teams. I'm going through Big 10 in my head. I'm going Big 12.
Iowa.
Cyclones.
The Iowa Hawkeyes and the
Iowa State Cyclones. Iowa
Ding,
Hawkeyes.
ding.
Kansas Jayhawks. Am I missing any more obvious ones?
One
Probably. Which
Power 4
obvious
program
one?
still. One
Power
Power 4
4 left.
But it is not obvious.
It's not Purdue.
Nah. Ding. Eh.
It's not obvious, huh?
Let me see here. So Eastern Michigan, we would have accepted.
Oh.
Georgia Southern, we would have accepted.
Okay.
Don't give me that look. These teams, like, by the way, Georgia, the Eastern Michigan Eagles. What am I supposed to tell you? Oh, what did you think it was?
He's got his directional Michigan schools mixed up. It's
Eastern
okay. It happens
Michigan,
to everybody.
you thought they were the Broncos?
Annapolis, don't apologize.
Shame on you.
It happens to everybody.
Shame on you.
Thought it was the Chippewas.
Oh, and Chippewas, Broncos.
Chippewa sounds like a bird.
Yeah. Georgia Southern, the Eagles. Louisville, you got.
Yeah.
Kansas, you got. Iowa, you got, finally.
Yeah, jeez.
Oh, I got a couple, actually, that you're going to get mad about. Power 4 program, South Carolina.
Oh, the Gamecocks. How'd I miss the Gamecocks?
Boston College.
BC, the Eagles.
Also on the list.
Is that in the logo?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. You're
it's
right.
like got that. It's more of a honk.
What sound does an eagle make?
Ball State, we would have also accepted, and we would have also taken the Coastal Carolina.
Oh, the Chanticleers. That would have been a good one to get.
The Chanticleer.
Did all right, but I'm disappointed that
You have a new bottle of the Chanticleer from 81?
disappointed that I missed the Gamecocks.
All right.
Gosh dang.
Family program. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We got more around the corner. Sly's going to join us next. Stay here, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.